Sorry. Hi. Didn't realize I forgot to mute myself on OBS. I'm back. Oh, once a scuff, always a scuff. GG. Okay, cool. Yeah, hi guys. Sorry. I don't know. I'll edit at least the awkward parts out. After stream. Yeah, that's cool. That's cool. Hi. Welcome back? Question mark. Kind of, sort of. I've been active on the channel with the covers, but I had not exactly been active with streaming. Because I wasn't sure if I wanted to come back or not, to be really honest. By the way, I've already warned Discord folks, but like this is gonna be a very scuffed stream. Yeah, let's... Gosh, where do I start? I also did not take my meds today because I remembered too late, and I also had a hankering for coffee, and I had to choose one or the other. So I chose the caffeine, totally forgetting that I had a live stream today. But I did this to myself. Anyway, hi. If you are new to the streaming portion of my activities, welcome. I used to stream very often. Don't so much anymore, trying to get back into it now. Wanted to take a break from streaming, to be really honest, after chapter 1 ended for just reasons which I will get into later. But yeah, it's not a gaming stream, which is what I usually do. But hey, chatting's okay too. So yeah, let's start there, because I think it'll be a good lead-in for it'll be a good lead-in into, oh gosh, what's it called? To the anime North story. That's what I meant to say. Yeah. This is so yo, this is kind of this is kind of hard, guys. It's actually kind of hard. I forgot to do everything. Oh, and now I forgot. I'm also multi-streaming to Twitch, but I don't know how to look at I don't know how to look at both chats at the same time. OBS changed so much since I last logged in. Why? There used to be a thing where it says view, scene list. Why can't I see? I don't wanna open up Twitch though. My computer can only handle so much. Come on now. Oh, it's not gonna let me do that, is it? Oh no. Oh wait, is it? Okay. It's connected, but I'm trying to figure out how to see both chats at the same time. Not that I think it really matters at this point because it's so early, but you know, I don't really want to, you know, I think it might just be easier if I do yeah, I'll just I guess I'll just leave my OBS preview on. I originally like disable preview in OBS because I don't want to max out my very small GPU and RAM. It's hardly a GPU. It's not even NVIDIA. But I you know, it's still scuffed. I'm still trying to figure things out, and as I figure things out, I'm gonna have to do some things that are a little bit like, wow, that there really is scuff, you know, that kind of a thing. So it's fine. It's not I have not re-debuted yet. I haven't even like officially debuted yet, to be honest, so like it's fine. I'm simply delaying the inevitable of what I promised myself to do, which is to actually talk about things. But hey, have a brave day, right? Gotta be brave myself. So yeah, let's do this. October was when chapter 1 ended, and then I went solo basically. The transition has not been easy for, like, it was very unexpected. Life is a scuff, that's why we be brave, that's right, Nacho, you know the way, you know the way, hope you're well. Yeah, the transition has not been easy. I've been pretending it would be easy or trying to hide the fact that it's easy. I later found out that my way of trying to handle things in life is very akin to like a cat, which I guess that's why I'm more of a cat person, although I do love dogs. But yeah, definitely a cat person. Hi Chupo! Thank you for the pets. I'm trying. But yeah, I hadn't realized how codependent I'd been on the other person. Obviously because it's codependency, it was probably the same for them as well. There was a lot of like emotional things I had to deal with. There was a lot of that's the reason why Standing Frozen became the video and slash song that it became. Another thing I had to really come to terms with was my mobility. So here's the thing about fibro. If it is the type of fibro that got triggered by PTSD, which mine is, every time you force your emotions down more and stress yourself out more, and you don't give yourself time to recover more, the worse the condition gets. And it's really hard to get into regression, guys. It's really hard to enter regression. So basically, long story short, I now have to use a wheelchair. I have mentioned this on my Twitter and whatnot already, but like in case y'all didn't know, yes, I am actually wheelchair bound now. Not full time. I'm an ambulatory user, so like at home, because I don't need to be on my feet as much at home, I can still walk and I can still stand. I am in the process of like fixing up one of those like collapsible stool thingies though. You're like, the bottom looks like it's just a pole but then the seat is kind of like a reverse tripod. I was like, oh, that's a smart idea. As I got it and I opened it and then I tried to put the seat over it, I'm just like, the seat doesn't fit. What? The seat's too small. What do? And then I was just like, I kind of knew this might happen because the reviews were just like, oh, the seat doesn't fit, but otherwise it would have been so useful because it's tall enough. Basically, it looks like I'm kind of standing awkwardly if I sit on this stool. That's how tall it is. So I'm just like, yeah, that's exactly what I wanted. But the seat, you know, because it's drop shipping, so it's one of those like Temu products, but they were selling it on Amazon for more expensive, that kind of a thing. So I'm just like, oh, I guess I just have to like fix the seat. I have to fix the seat, but that's okay. Anyway, that was again me distracting myself. Sorry. I had to learn to sing and perform in the chair again. Which the singing part itself is not bad because, you know, I've been V-singing, VTubing, U-taitaing for a while now, so I can sing full songs when I'm sitting. I can't do that standing at all. I think the last time I attempted it was in 2023. Yeah, in 2023 when I made it to AN Idol Finals then. halfway through the chorus, I started running out of breath. Not starting, sorry, I fully ran out of breath. I was so heaving for air and unable to breathe that I couldn't even finish the song. Like, there was this massive gap in the middle where I just wasn't singing. But then I kind of managed to finish it at the end. But either way, this time around, I'm just like, okay, I've learned my lesson. I can't keep doing this. I'm gonna use the wheelchair this time. So, the month, I think the last month, yeah, because it's only been a month since I got this. The last month has been me just adjusting to life with it. So learning how to use it, learning how to do my chores with it, learning how to do my errands with it. And then the big kahuna for me was learning how to sing with it, and not just singing, like performing with it. Because for those who don't know, I am a live performer by blood. I was having a discussion with Pam about this. I think literally last night, because she wanted to congratulate me. It's like, congrats on getting into AN Idol finals, like that's a big thing. I'm just like, thank you. And then we're just talking about like how we got to our respective paths, and it's just like, yeah, like her experience is a lot more like aligned with what VTubing does. Mine is not. Mine is very live performance. So the transition to virtual has been a lot harder for me, so to go back on stage was, to me, a very big deal. Still is a very big deal for me as well, like today. But there was a lot of uncertainty kind of like leading up to AN, aside from the fact that I realized, oh wait, the majority of my fears and delays with like my virtual projects as well, with both Astral Mile and now Lost and Found as well, we're entering Multiverse Vistas again. Yay! Not the same team though. This team is much bigger this time. So I'm just like, I have to like get my ducks in a row. I have to get my ducks in a row, and I need to figure out what I have to do. But I found myself like becoming more and more afraid of what's next. This is the thing about codependency, and like this is why I'm hoping that the other person's also recovering, hopefully, in their own way from this. You become so... Hi, Nessie. Hope you're well. Hope you enjoyed Anime Boston. You become so used to doing things for the other person and with the other person. Hi, Nessie. And I, listen, like, here's the thing, like, even within the friend group, like, I chose to leave. I specifically made the decision to leave that group because I realized that my, whoa, don't, Chisaku jump scare, hi, sorry, my voice don't go. One day I will have a soundboard. Today's not that day. Hope you enjoyed Anime Boston, and I hope you had a good time with your lovelies. I don't even know if your lovelies are still here or not, but I hope they had a good time with you. Yeah, just I've been talking to other folks who are going through something similar as well, where it's just like we often get into codependent relationships because at some point we were terrified of moving forward. And for me, I don't know what the case is for the other person. We have unfortunately never gotten that far with our personal discussions, but like whatever that person needs to face, that's their journey that they need to go on. Like I've made the decision to step away from that. For me personally, I hadn't realized, like, it obviously it didn't start with this person. It actually started with the relationship before that. I was trying to substitute my career growth and my love for the craft and music and the stage with like a traditional, like with another person, basically. Because the reality was, like, as I was getting bigger as an idol back in Vancouver, the lonelier it was getting. It was getting really, really lonely. I was excluded from a lot of group gatherings, even within my own friend group, just because, you know, I was so busy. I was always releasing something. I was preparing for an album at the time, and then like I was also doing a lot of live performances. Like in Vancouver, there's a lot of conventions and performance opportunities that Toronto pales in comparison to. So in Vancouver, I was like almost every month I was performing at a convention. Oh, they're still there? Oh, hi. Nice to formally quote unquote meet you. Question mark. They call this. You call that so cute. That's it. You're here. You're cool. as rightfully so. But yeah. I think once I moved to Toronto, and I'll be honest, like my choice to move to Toronto was me wanting to remove myself from just like a lot of stuff that had happened in Vancouver. Like there was drama, there was a lot of tea, there's a lot of pettiness and a lot of cliquiness, and which I later found out, like, oh wait, this is a Vancouver thing. Oh, that's not something to be proud of. But yeah, so that happened. So there was that. But there was also just me wanting something more that at the time Vancouver's idol scene could not provide. Remember, this is before things got as big as they are now. This was like 8 to 10 years ago. Like the scene was so different back then than it is now. I don't know what would have happened if I stayed. I don't know what would have happened if I decided to just like keep doing what I did, but I just know that like at the time I was not in a good headspace. I didn't feel safe being alone. I felt very lonely. So, you know, like an opportunity, like basically, I don't want to call it an opportunity because that doesn't feel right, but basically like I ended up falling into a relationship, and that relationship became like this cohabitation situation for like 3.5 years. The last half year of that was spent awkwardly cohabitating, question mark, before I got out of there. And I was still scared to fully embrace what I can only really define as a destiny that came from a path that I chose long time ago, which was to pursue performance and singing and doing music full time. I was just so scared of it. I was out of university. I didn't have high school. Like I was so scared to go back. I was so scared to try and do this full time. I kept trying to tell myself, oh, I can go into the workforce. Like I can do this as a side thing. Wrong. I could not do a side thing. That's not how ADHD works. That's not how autism ADHD works. Okay, guys. Like my brain can only handle so much. So basically, I was emotionally exhausted and burned out from like doing all these side jobs, etc., etc. And that's when around like I could have really pushed for Astral Mile to be much more active and much more ambitious than Chapter 1 was. I could have. But because I cared so much about this other person and like what they didn't want to do. And I'm really honest, there were a lot more things that they didn't want to do than there were things they wanted to do. That was a discussion we had near the end. And that's for them to figure out. I was really like resentful about it for a while. Over the last, I think during the first 3 or 4 months especially, after we parted ways. But when I was, I'll bring him up later. He's a cool guy. I do want to talk about him more. He was basically the head of logistics for Toronto Congress Center. So he's basically the one manning. He's the one leading the AV crew at Anime North every year. So I met him for the first time last year. I'm just like, we clicked. We're just like, I like how you work. And we're both disabled. Like, we both need like mobility devices for ambulatory reasons because both of our backs kill us. But yeah, that's I'll talk about him later. But something he said made me just really resonate with it and make me understand their perspective more. Relationships are such a two-way street. Well, a 10-way street for me, but that's I don't know how you all do it, man. I can't. I could barely handle one person. Oh my goodness. Super commendable to be able to be open, but thank you. I really wanted to try hiding this for as long as I could. But I realized the more I tried to hide it from you guys, the more of myself I was also hiding from you. So that's not fair. Felt I always feel like matching the passion is always hard with others. Yeah. Yeah, actually, you know what? I'll mention what his name is Taz. So I'll mention what Taz, the sound guy, said to me. AP guy. This was after AN Idol finals. Winners were announced and everything. I'll talk more about that later. But he said to me, he's like, you 10 finalists, but he said specifically to me because something funny had happened. Basically, I'll just mention this part. Well, you know what? Yeah, no, I think it's just easier if I mention this part now. So, AN Idol Finals happened. Video will be up on their channel in the coming months. Depends on how fast Showtech can get the footage to each respective coordinator, and then Kaidaj will basically be uploading it to the Idol channel or one of the people on his team. I don't know. We had a stage manager and we just call her God. But what happened during mid-performance for me is that fibro things, my arm twitched a little while I was moving around, whatnot. I tapped the microphone's end, and it's a wireless microphone. I tapped the receiver against my knee, and then the audio cut out. The mic stopped working. It just shut off, and I was like, I'm singing. I did not stop singing, by the way, this whole time. I'm a pro. Thank you very much. But like as I'm singing, it's like, oh no, it's like the thing wasn't working. I was like, oh god, I guess I just to sing even louder. No, thankfully it was during the chorus. I was just like belting my notes out, and the crowd was just like, yeah, you can do it. Don't stop, kind of a thing. The judge one of the judges who was also a vocal coach that morning, he ran up the steps, swapped his mic with mine, and then ran off stage, and then I continued singing. Why does something always happen when I make it to finals? I don't understand. Main character moment. No, Chupu, this is not a main character, this is a comic relief moment. Oh my god! In the moment, I'm just like, it's fine. I'm used to this, just ball with it. But then after I came off, and like when everyone comes in, it's like, you really handled that tech situation really, really well. I was just like, yeah, it was funny. And I mean, guys. I guess main character in a comedy moment. Anyway, yeah, first time in finals, I threw my cane across the stage and ran out of breath. This time around, the mic was the one that failed me. Anyway, they commended me for that. They said it was a lot of fun watching you, but they didn't have any criticism for me. And I'm just like, well, I guess I did okay. But then I thought about my own performance. I'm just like, I'm pretty sure I messed some things up though. Of course I did. I was one to perform hair flip. Thanks, Nacho. OP character, guys. Nacho is more accurate to what I felt. It's like I've been doing this for 15 years. But yeah, for me personally, I know for a fact I could have done some parts better, because even with the chair, I did unfortunately still run out of breath more than I usually would. It just happens when you go on stage, because by then your adrenaline's rushing, so your heart rate is already much higher than what it usually will be during rehearsal, and most people don't realize that. So my heart rate was already probably at like 135 BPM. I'm gonna estimate based on past experiences. And when I'm belting notes, now that's even higher. Like, and my heart rate was basically like, you're really pushing it now, fam. And so it's like, please just survive. I don't want to stop singing this time. So I definitely lost control of my notes. I know that for sure. But they didn't say anything about it. Like, they did make like criticisms to singers, saying like, oh, you could have like, you should watch how you sing this note, or watch how you transition, etc, etc. And like half of the panel is from Kaidash's musical theater company, and so this is like their full-time job. Like they music singing is like all they do. So that's why I was like really like ready to get constructive feedback, but they're just like, no, you like, I love the tone of your voice, like you just have a very unique tone, and I remember you from like 2 years ago, and she said the same thing then too. And the one that I was expecting the most criticism from was he was the one that actually praised my voice the most. So I'm just like, I don't know what to expect from this. Show goes on. For those who don't know, Vivi, who's a fairly newcomer to this scene, she's the one that won this year. Hiten, who I was personally just like really hoping would do well, he did end up getting a prize. He got runner-up. I was really looking forward to his because no one's sure of whether this is his last AN idol or not. He's singing Mad Lad sang Kaiju no Hanauta by Bondi. I literally saw, like, because he was just like, oh, I want my lights to be like the color of this album is the pink, it's the magenta fuchsia pink, like magenta pink that's on Bondi's album that song is from. I'm just like, you're singing a Bondi song? Like, are you what? He's like, yeah. It's like, it has a very special meaning to me, and it turns out like he has a very intense story. That's the thing about Kaiju no gosh, and we were the only two that knew that song backstage. We're just like these. I guess we're the only ones cultured. Okay, so we're just both just like singing like Sawage Kaiju no Huda backstage the entire time, and like that song has a lot of call and response that again most of the audience did not know. So I was singing. I was like, never did I yeah, I was doing that backstage so loudly that the judges are just like, yeah, your interaction with the audience and like your backup singer was great. And even as he was singing, he's like, yeah, boy, you know, kind of a thing. That was fun. Everyone was great. I already knew I had resigned to the fact that, not resigned, like I accepted the fact that I wasn't going to win anything. There was also another feeling that I'll talk about that later, but for now I'll mention the main reason why I brought up Anime North Idol this early on. Taz came backstage, said to me, it's like, I am so sorry. I was like, why are you sorry? The stage manager also said, I'm sorry to me, but like they weren't the ones that banged the microphone against my knee. It was me. Why are you all apologizing for my mistake? But he's like, of all the people that could have had a technical issue, I didn't want it to be yours, because at this point we already had like we've been working backstage as like tech for dance cover show for 2 years straight at that point. This was the first time he was hearing me sing. This was the first time any of the AV people were hearing me sing this year. And so he was just like, either way, you did great. Your recovery was great. And then he said something to me that really put into perspective the other person's side of the story regarding chapter 1. It was the 10 of you are incredibly courageous because you are doing something that so many people, millions of people want to do but don't always have the courage to do. I'm so sorry you did that. Are you for real? For real? I was like, no, don't. What, guys? That's so weird. They did end up resetting it eventually, but just like, yeah, it was an awkward moment, but it was funny. To me, it was funny. But yeah, the big thing was you did something that many would love to do, but don't always have the courage to do. And that's when I was, oh, that's why I was so much more like risk-takey and more resilient when things didn't exactly go our way. Because early chapter 1, so many people didn't believe in us. Like, holy, there was some tea, y'all. I won't get into it, but like, long story short, we weren't really sure if we were gonna make it. The first 3 months especially was especially hard, but like it took a lot of to the canal down now don't we only sip the tea, we don't talk about the tea. I didn't give up because at that point I'd already failed so much. Half records kind of fell through the cracks. It also was a pain in the butt to even get that first album out in the first place. Being an idol in Vancouver didn't turn out well. My graduation concert was maybe one of the most disappointing graduation concerts any idol could have. Because the audience was not just half empty, but a lot of people left halfway through the show too. It's very telling of my immaturity and ego at the time. But I was so used to failure at that point that like I just kept it like, okay, whatever, like we keep moving forward. But I remember the other, the other person was, it was a little bit harder for them. Like they did feel more intense feelings about it than I did, I think, or quote unquote intense. They knew they felt something, but they couldn't exactly identify like what it was. And yeah, later as we were talking through it, I was just like, oh no, you're upset. That's what it feels like to be upset in this context. And yeah, it's valid. It's just I've just gotten used to it. And you will get used to it. The biggest reason why, I guess we can finally talk about this now. Biggest reason for their graduation in October was just that first of all, it was